live again here at Axon Main Forge of Memory. And we got a ladder in here because there was I had a bird get in my shop. I had to shoot with my BB gun and get rid of the evidence. So before anyone's saying I used a ladder to put a bird up in the ceiling, no, that's where the bird was after I shot it with the BB gun and had to get up there to get it down so it didn't smell bad. All right, guys, how's it going? Hope everybody's having a great day. And this video, this is kind of a creative video, but creative on the title rather than the concept. And what knives should you make and when you shouldn't make them, okay? So what I'm going to talk to you guys about, I'm just going to kind of go around the shop in just a minute, and I'm going to talk to you guys about what the customers want, what we make, and also, is it a good idea? Is it not a good idea? So it's kind of different aspects of marketing. I'm putting some Renaissance wax on this handle, trying to get a little more clarity on it. This is some hybrid burl handle material Cheyenne did, and it turned out nice, but the contrast on this is, she's not going to do too many with this combination anymore because, and that's kind of the inspiration of the video is, just because someone asks for you to make something, should you make it? Well, yes and no. If someone asks you to make an item, material, whatever it is, should you make it? If they're paying for it, that's how we pay bills, okay? Now, should we make it? That's a good question. And I'm going to show you, this one's sold. I'm waiting on payment to come in on it. But this is a Farrier's Rasp Bowie knife. Now, this you can still use as a hunting knife or, whatever. But what it comes down to is if I make a whole bunch of Bowie knives, I have to sell a whole bunch of Bowie knives. I've got to sell what I make. So it comes down in part to your market, your supply and your demand. If everybody's trying to order one specific style of knife, you should definitely make it and make good money on it. If someone is getting a hold of you and saying, let me go over here to the window to get something. If you have a customer get a hold of you and say, hey, you know what would be really cool? A crisp blade hunting knife. Who's going to use a crisp blade for a hunting knife? Somebody might. I mean, if they pay for it, do it. If someone says, man, a reverse falchion is really cool. Yes, it is. I'm probably not going to sell too many of these, even though it is cool and it shows my abilities and diversity in design. Should I make this? I should make this, but unless I'm selling them all the time, I shouldn't make them all the time, because that's material that could go towards something that I do sell all the time. Now, what do I sell all the time? A little bit of everything. Thank you, sir. So it can come down to very basic, let me get this here. Points of sales. One being price, and you have to, whatever you're making, it must be profitable. Now, here is a file steel upswept hunting knife, and this is cool. This reminds me kind of the buffalo skinner that my dad gave me, that his dad gave him, and they called it a buffalo skinner. Now, this has a poured pewter pommel and bolster with a dyed elk antler, a stained elk antler handle. And this is a very functional piece. I don't sell that many large hunting knives anymore. This is a couple inches longer than what a lot of people want to carry. Now, is it usable? Absolutely. but it's a pretty good sized knife. I do wear the same shirt every day. I bought 10 of these from, I bought them online, and I go through and I just, I put it on like a work shirt because I'm here in my store. So yeah, I do wear this quite often. When it gets a little cooler, I've got different shirts I wear, but I burn holes in these pretty often with grinding and forging. So they're kind of disposable, but good eye. Even if I make a hunting knife like this piece right here with the crown antler, and this is made, it's either file steel or 1095. I couldn't tell you for sure. It's a good looking knife. It will sell, but it's still on the larger side for a lot of people when they're looking for a using knife. So as far as a camp knife, to me, it's a bit small, but it's about right. Then I get into something like this, into a drop point. This file steel blade, I can still see some of the file marks, with the poured pewter pommel and bolster, the dyed stained elk antler handle. This is not one scary. So sometimes bigger knives, especially to people who aren't exactly knife people, will look at this as a weapon. They're all tools. The falchion's technically a tool. It'll cut things. But something like this, I know I can make this and I can sell that, especially going up to hunting season and in the holidays, all day, every day. So that's something that I lean towards. Now, I also get into things like trapper's axes. Guys, I made a whole bunch of these. These were selling like crazy. And then I've been trying to sell this one for probably a month or more. Is it ugly? Is it broken? I mean, it's about as pretty as I am, so take that with a grain of salt. But this is a functional tool. And this one right here, there's nothing wrong with it really. But supply and demand, there was a lot of demand, and then by the time I got my supply up, I had filled most of that demand. Buster, you get a hold of me. All you got to do is check out in the description. There's a link to a Facebook page. That's Axon Main Forge Memory. Message me through there, and we can go from there. Now, depending upon who you sell to and how often you sell, could really depend upon what you make. What kind of knife should you make? If I'm going to be selling, if I'm going to be vending at a fair, or especially something that has a rodeo, something that I might want to be making are horseshoe knives. Now, this is not the best steel. In fact, this is wrought iron. This is not ideal for a knife. Will it cut? It sure will. But that may also not be something I want to get a reputation for on Dustin just makes horseshoe knives or railroad spike knives. I make a lot more than that. I do a lot of custom orders and some rather 4 and 5 figure higher dollar pieces. But when it comes down to it, if people only see the railroad spike and the horseshoe knives, then they may think that, well, what's the guy's skill level? Is this what he does? If I'm going to a higher dollar knife show, I may want to have knives that are finer finished. If I'm going to a reenactment, that's probably more likely where I'm going to sell D-guard bowies, especially if it's like Civil War reenactment. But what I sell more of than anything are basic hunting knives and kitchen knives and EDCs. I've got a nice Bacote drop point right here. Now, I know that I can sell this for $250. I know that I could wholesale this for a percentage of that. And if I make it and it looks good, it's going to sell. Now, if I have nothing but knives of a similar caliber, and I'll show you what I mean. I've got an entire case here of those knives, of similar knives, different handle materials, a little bit designed, but something a little different. I do not have a Falx at the moment. If I make the same thing over and over again, if I have the market and I'm known for it, then I can definitely move that product. However, if I have too much of that, then it's less likely for me to sell it. And the reason being that this is what I want to talk to you guys about real quick. And it's along that marketing aspect, is that if you come up to a table at a trade show, a gun show, wedding expo, visibility is very important. Visibility is very important in business as it is. But they come up and they look at your booth, they look at your table, and your table has a lot of product. I mean, massive amount of product, all different colors, and it's just scattered about. It's not organized. It's harder to see. If you have too many products, too many pieces rather, you have too many options. Now, not too long ago, I had 3 racks of tomahawks in my shop, completely full. Some of those I ended up packing away for upcoming like vendor fairs, festivals, and so forth. And now it's not that I don't have the stock, but now I have I've got a rack of some spiked tomahawks that people can look at, they can pick up, they can go try out if they want. And, for $150, you can have one too. If you have too many options, what will happen is you'll have an individual come up and pick up the item that they are certain they want to buy, but wait, oh, cool. Did you see that one? In essence, you just talked yourself out of a sale without doing anything because you've given them too many options. How much would one go for? Message me. It's just a white boy. Okay. Guy, just message me. There's a link to Axle Main Forge Memory in the description, and we'll talk on it. We'll get some specifics. It all varies. A lot of factors. Now, over here, I've got a display cabinet. There was a full rack of tomahawks over there. And now what I still have a lot, and this is a lot to look at. I have a lot of axes, and these all vary. There are Biscayne Bay style axes. There are more Norse styled axes. There are very much straight up tomahawks available right here. That one says $80. That's going to change. I ain't selling that for $80. And then I have some Farrier's Rasp tomahawks. I got 3 Farrier's Rasp tomahawks left. So I had quite a few of those. If I continue to sell them, I'll definitely make more. I've got 60 Farrier's Rasps over there that I can go ahead and I can go ahead and make those up as needed. And while I'm talking about that, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is a great time to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Let me see what we can do. Let me see what we can do, man. Guys, the past couple days I've been doing some videos. I did one for a friend that passed, and one of the things he made was railroad spike tomahawks, and he made and sold a lot of those. I made one in honor of him, and that one will. I'm not going to keep it here in the shop. I've got the memory of him, and I've got the memories of what I learned from him, and I want to keep that going. But I wanted to show people something that he made quite often, and that was something that a lot of people associated with George, with Curly George, we called him, George Spollinger. And I'm going to show you what I've been working on the past couple days. And this also goes to the when shouldn't you make these? Wow. Guys, right here is 122 blanks for spike knives. Now, they still have to be ground. They still have to be quenched. And I'm probably going to do super quench on them. Now, railroad spikes Rhodes spikes are an awesome experience. They're nostalgic. They're fun to make. And you too can come into your Forge Memory location. We're located at 409 North Main Street in St. Elmo, and forge your own for $85. Make the knife you carry. I can give you all kinds of sales pitches and so forth. We also do a horseshoe knife for $60. And then we do a nail knife for $30. And the nail knife is a cool little fun piece that you can make so that your daughter's Barbie can kick G.I. Joe's ass any day. All right, that's the joke we make on that. The nail knife's more novelty. But if all I ever make are spike knives, people are going to go, hey, does he ever use good steel? Is it a functional knife? It is a functional blade. I have had people make these and skin deer with them, so there has to be some function to it. Now, I also make a a cutlery grade railroad spike knife, and that comes from an Atlas Knife and Tool 1078 high carbon blade. Need them sharpened? I'll get them for you. So, what I've got here, this is Atlas Knife and Tool. These are 1078 high carbon, so very similar to a 1080. And what I make out of those, I make cool, functional art. I always loved railroad spike knives, thought they were cool. And the issue was that they weren't the best steel. I would love to make a flanged mace. That would be very involved. And right here is an Atlas Knife and Tool, high carbon blade right there, okay? The other cool thing I can do with the Atlas spikes, I really can't do without welding in high carbon steel to a regular spike, is, for example, here you can see that has a hamon. It has a temper line like a Japanese sword. And I also did a little fancier handle, scored down each side, and did the twist on it. And guys, I enjoy doing these. Now, if I sell those often, I'll make them. I'm always going to probably have a few of those in stock. But when it comes down to it, should I always make spike knives, even if it's a high carbon spike knives, when people associate them with not a cutlery grade steel? It depends on your market. Conway, how's it going, man? And one of the things I've got going here is I have a little bit of everything, but I've got some items I sell more of than anything. And one thing that I sell more than anything are the classic American Forge series hunting knives. And these they're a moneymaker. It's profitable for me. It's reasonable. Now, when should you make a knife according to price? Okay, we all have our prices. There's I've already got it done and I can sell at price, and I have a lot of those. Then I have knives that are someone's making a custom order. That price is going to be a little bit higher. Not much, because it's basically going to be the same as if I just decide to make it and I have the intent of selling it versus making something on the side. Now, then you have the price of I don't want to make it. And that's where you overprice. And if somebody really wants it, they'll pay for it, but then you really got to make it to get the money. So some of those builds aren't as fun, and that gets closer to having a regular job, which sometimes is fun, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you go, if I shoot myself in the foot this morning, will I have to go to work this week? Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Never do that. Although some people question it. So when should you make a knife? When should you not make a knife? When should you make a knife that is more extravagant and that is more, that's going to be higher priced? Well, now I do make higher dollar knives, and I'll show you guys one that I have right here. And this knife won Most Unusual Knife of the GAKC show in 2022. It's published in Knives 2023. This is Meteorite Damascus. It has my maker's mark, one of my maker's mark, Brown-Rhodes Forge Works, electrochemical etched into it. 100-plus-year-old wrought iron fittings and human femur bone. For $12,000 cash, you too can own this. And for $12,000 credit, and for 10,000 cash, you can own a 10,000. Then I don't have to pay as much in fees. I've still got my taxes to pay on it, but I don't have near the fees. And then I look at some that are a little more reasonable. This has dust on it right now, and this has been submitted for publication. This is my Turtle Island Bowie. I'll make you one of these for something similar between $800 and $1,200. Okay, it has a hot fit guard. It's a spring steel blade, pinned elk antler handle, and then it's also poured pewter, which helps with the counterbalance. And I also, that's where I put my mark on this one. I also put it right here on the blade. So different types of blades, I have different marks, whether it's a Frontier, whether it's a modern Hunter. There's different factors. So when should you make medieval blades? Well, you should probably make medieval blades when you are going to the Ren Fair. Okay? That's a good time to sell medieval style blades. When should you make Frontier blades and tomahawks? Maybe when you're going to the rendezvous. When should we make standard hunting knives and kitchen knives? All the time. People use kitchen knives quite a bit. I've got my favorite kitchen knife right here. I use that in the kitchen. I use this to eat supper. Why? Because I am doing a review on this, and I want to try carrying this for a year if it holds up. And it's a honey badger flipper. I picked that up at Blade Show, and I'm hoping very soon squirrel season is coming in tomorrow. No. Yes, Friday, Saturday. I think it comes in August 1st, whenever that is. I think that's either Friday or tomorrow or Saturday. And I'm going to use it for processing game. I'm using that knife because it is a using piece. Okay? Now, anyone who's watched Lord of the Rings, any kind of fantasy, medieval-ish movie, you're going to see cool blades that are like, oh my God, did you see? This is a companion knife that I'm working on. I've still got to finish this out for another reverse falchion. And you know what? This might sell at the Ren Fair. There's a lot of places this might sell, but until it does sell, and I do have to clean this up because it's getting some surface rust on it. Until it does sell, I have a cool looking piece of decor that takes up a lot of room in the shop. So, should I make reverse falchions all the time? Probably not. In my meantime, should I make a whole bunch of file steel blades? These are heat treated, they are rough ground, I've got to go through and finish them out. Should I make these just because? Yeah. Because right here, this makes me money. Just like that batch of railroad spikes. The railroad spikes will go to some of the local festivals. Now, if I have extra saw blades, should I grind out blanks and heat treat them? I should, because I'm going to build stock. Should I take my 80 CRV2 that's $50, $49 for 2 foot, should I take that and just make knives all week with it if I'm not selling them? No, that's expensive, okay? So as you're feeding the beast, so to speak, the beast being your job, being your hobby, whatever it might be, you have to keep in mind the economic aspect of it, and that is, am I making this because it's cool, or am I making this because this is how I subsist, or do I have intent on feeding the hobby? There's a lot of factors there. So when do you make this knife? When don't you make that knife? So there's a lot to balance there. Guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'm going to plug a couple things in the description, then I'm going to move on to a couple other points that may be of interest to you. One, Forge Memory Family, there's a link to that in the description. Go check it out. In-depth video builds that you can check out on that. And then there's also Iron Mountain Metalcraft. Robbie Bowman, Forged and Fire fan favorite, seasons 3 and 4, episodes 5. Link to his shop right there, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And Robbie's a great friend of ours, and we will be teaching with Robbie, Cheyenne and I. We'll be teaching Three people from Forged in Fire, former contestants, teaching down at the Turtle Island Preserve. Eustace Conway's from Mountain Men on their History channel. Eustace is right there and right there, holding that big knife I just had. We'll be teaching down there September 6th and 7th. There is a link to the Turtle Island Preserve. Check it out. And please check out our friend Trenton Ty at trentonty.com and Purgatory Ironworks on YouTube, guys. We got more videos coming up. And I've already got more videos that are already produced that you guys can go and check. Okay, let's see. Piggly Wiggly says, love the hand, and it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And yes, that is correct. And that's also the reason I put a gun on every morning. And that's also the reason that I put my seatbelt on when I get in a vehicle, is because it is better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I completely agree with that. But when it comes down to producing a piece, producing this so that you have it and you can finish it out is ideal. Finishing it out and having it cost more money when you don't have the income, you don't have the inflow, can be detrimental to your business and to your lifestyle, especially if that's your main form of income. Okay, so what I want to talk about as well is building that stock, because I talked about reputation. One reason I was, I'm getting ahead of myself. One reason I was showing you that human femur bone meteorite Damascus recurve I did was so when people go, well, what's this person's skill level? Well, if you're really good at making folders, make some nice folders, make some good folders. If you are good at making frontier style tomahawks, make frontier style tomahawks, but don't go in the hole doing it. You have to make sure that you can produce enough and that you can have items available for sale. And that's where this 122 batch of railroad spikes that I have right here that I've been working on. These are brute. They're brute to forge. They're forged for effect. So I will grind a blade out of this form here, okay? So am I going to do all 122 of these at once? I can. The problem is I'm not going to have any for sale. If I start in on these and I just grind the profiles on all of them and I'm not going to do anything further, I'm not going to grind bevels, I'm not going to heat treat them, and I'm not going to sharpen them until they're all done, then I have 122 spikes worth of dead weight right here. Okay. It is no different than having all those spikes, all that dead weight, although it is usable material. It's just very similar to having that, except the 122 of them have already cost me time, propane, a little bit of electricity. Okay. So as I progress through that, it's costing me money to make one of these into a knife. Once I have one of these made into a knife, it is worth money, and I can put that on market. Now, I could take pre-orders on these or something. I'm not doing that with these. But I could do that, where people would say, hey, I want this, and I'll pay you this, and then I go finish it out. That's very similar to having these knife blanks that are heat treated, ready to go. I can finish that knife out in an hour or so, provided I have the material. But if I'm going to do that batch of 122 spike knives, then it makes more sense for me to do that in a batch of 10 at a time. That way I've got those ready. Then I can have them, I can go through, I can grind them, I can sharpen them, I can heat them, quench them. Of course, this will be like a super quench. It's not the high carbon steel where I do an oil quench and do multiple temper cycles and all that. I do that with the Atlas knife and tool, but not with the standard. With the standard ones, it's about a 1040 steel, and it's more novelty, but it is a functional art. So what I can say is if I go through and I do 10 of those, and then I take it and I preserve it. I oil it, I wrap it in bubble wrap, I put away 10 of those. I've got those available. I continue to do so because I don't want a full case of just railroad spike knives. It's going to be difficult to justify taking up that much real estate. But if it sells, it sells. That's what matters. Now, if I progressively go through and I get those done before the festivals, I'm good to go. If people want to buy them before the festivals, I have them available. My stock is ready right now, people. You can walk into my shop and buy what I have done. Otherwise, I have to worry about you saying, hey, I'd like to buy that. I'll be back. Now, once you leave the shop, will you be back? That's a question. That's a really good question. Sometimes they don't. Or, hey, in a couple months, we still got that, I'll buy that. That's great, man. I don't hold on to stuff that long. This is how I make a living. So it's something to really consider on what a person really wants to do. And if I want to make money, I'm definitely going to make knives. I'm going to finish them out. And that comes down to what I was working on when you guys came in, which I'm going to put another coat of Ren wax on this handle. My hybrid handle right there that Cheyenne did up. That's one of those file steel blades with the hot fit guard I did over there. Okay. So this is marked, it's sharpened. I'll end up putting some Ren wax on the blade too, and I really shouldn't be touching with my hands alone. But as I put some more coats on this to try to make that finish a little more even, this is going to make me money. Now, if it brings something low, like let's say it only brings $75 to $100, I guess I got more than what I put into it, so that's okay. But the whole idea is to make money on what we're doing here. Can I put $200 on this and sell it? I sure can, especially with a decent sheath. The sheath costs money to make as well. If I have one that fits it, that costs me less money. So a lot of times I do some outsourcing on the sheaths. And I apologize. I had some dental work done. I've got more going or coming up. So I have a little bit of slur because I don't have as many teeth in my face right now. Donald, I have actually used some railroad plates as makeshift anvils and swedges before. They are quite useful. There's a lot of old material that came from the railroad. Do not go walking the tracks trying to get stuff. That's not good. But like this one, this will go up for sale this evening. It'll be sold within a week if it doesn't sell tonight. I'm okay with that. I'll buy groceries or put gas in my car or pay a bill or do something like that. But what it comes down to is how do I determine when to take a risk? How do I determine when I should take a risk on making something? If it's going to cost me too much to make and I don't have the financial backing to begin with, so someone has not put money down on an obscure piece that I haven't sold before, that I don't currently have a market for, then I should probably go, hey, I'm going to have money down on this, and this is the estimated ballpark figure on this. And I'll be totally honest, when I shoot a ballpark figure that it's going to be between 275 and 325, most likely by the time I get it done, it's going to be 325. And the reason being, because if I was going to sell an item for 275, I don't have it made. I'm going to be working on it. And while I'm working on it, I'm paying more attention to detail because of the customer that I've interacted with. I'm taking more time. I'm putting more money into it. It's probably going to be that 325 versus the 275. And it's not a matter. Now, there's been times where I've said, hey, 275 to 325. And I'm like, this is going to hit the 325. And I'm like, guys, we're going to shoot for 290 plus shipping because this is what I feel went into the piece. So there's a lot of factors there. Wow. Donald, that is an amazing family history right there. That is I'm back then in 1933. It doesn't surprise me that the letter saved some of those, but that is just absolutely that's terrible. And my condolences to your grandmother in 1933. But that is I couldn't imagine losing somebody to a situation like that. But you do have those railroad plates, and I actually had. I'll get off subject again real quick, but I had a guy who worked on the railroad who brought in a section of track from like 1874, 1876, and that he had got when they were replacing tracks or taking up old ones, and actually brought that stuff in for us to do heirloom builds. And we do heirloom builds like using pieces of leaf spring files, rasp, things like that people have owned. Tommy, have you made pike, glaive, halberd, war hammers, or armor? Yes, I don't do armor, and I don't have pictures of pikes, glaives, halberds, but I do have a war hammer here, right, that I heat treated. I made a couple of them, and this is one I'm getting ready to handle up and put up for sale. If you're interested, you can contact me through the link in the description. Excuse me. All right. So, with all that being said, guys, if there's something that that you go, hey, I think I can make a lot of money just making fantasy kukris, you might be able to if you have the market. And it comes down to that market. So when should you make it? When you have the market, or when you know the market is there and is valid and is proven. If that market is there, valid and proven, then what you can do is you can build stock, as I do as well. And when the market comes back around, you have seasonal highs and lows, hills and valleys, and what we refer to as seasonal lulls, which are extended periods like from after January 1st up until income tax time. Generally have a little bit of a seasonal lull. And then you have peaks and valleys. So I hope this has been somewhat informative. If you guys haven't subscribed, please do so. We do have more videos coming up. We have, and we'll probably be doing a live later this evening. Thank you very much, Donald. I appreciate it. If there's anything you guys would like to see, drop a comment, let me know, and we'll be back with some more forging videos. We'll be back with some more handle video. Cheyenne's going to be processing up some knives a bit later. You guys have a great one. We'll catch you in a few.